typically? You said it makes power.
Power.
Right.
Make power from sun to.
Right. Usually, and why I usually say save them some money, good for the environment, right? So how do I know what a solar system's doing at a given moment in time? How do I know what it's doing right now?
With monitoring.
Yeah, with monitoring. So what do I monitor? Power output. How? Literally how?
With the app, we can see.
The app?
Yeah.
How do I get the information to the app? You're right. This is good.
You can put inside the information, the system, like the home, the account.
So you pull up the account, and then let me ask you, how does the Enphase equipment know what it's doing? So now I'm getting into the hardware here.
Okay, the whole system is coming here, like energy from here, from the sun.
Right. How does it measure it? What?
With the consumption.
There it is. You guys hear him? The consumption CT. So he's talking about.
Whole production.
Oops. If we start here, that's the production CT, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we measure the power. How do I measure what the homeowner uses? You just said it.
With the consumption
CT. Where do those go?
Homeowner uses consumption.
On the grid side.
The consumption CTs. Where do I install those?
Consumption grid from the main panel.
There it is. So this guy, you guys follow him. He knows his stuff, okay?
Yeah.
The consumption CTs, what do they need to measure?
Because we have to know how much we are using power.
And where do you install them specifically? Do they need to measure just the hot tub? Do they measure everything? Do they measure? So it's
Main
basically.
panel hot conductor.
And when you say main panel, what I'm kind of getting at is I want to measure everything.
Yeah.
Right? Before the main breaker, after the main breaker, fine. But I'm trying to measure all of the energy usage in the house. Technically, they measure power.
Generally part, that's
Right, but over time, because they're measuring power over time, that'll tell me how much energy the home uses. Also, that equipment tells your battery and your backup system what to do. That's how I know when it's time to discharge power from the batteries, charge them up, etc., that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so big picture, we're all good. I know you guys know some of this, so I'm going to kind of do the quick thing, but please,
I want to know all of it.
any questions, any follow-up, I appreciate it. Just a quick detail, we will have live 240 volts here, so there's this funny thing about training gear, you kind of get comfortable. Be careful, okay? It'll hurt you just as bad, right? Okay.
Means nicely.
Yeah.
It'll wake you up for sure.
Yeah, it does. So let's talk about this this first item. You mentioned it already, that production CT. So how do I measure, I measure the power from my solar system. You said it already, the production CT, right? So I'm going to kind of cover the answer here, just at least to start. Well, he can see it, but everybody else can't. So how do I configure that production CT? What wires go through it? L1, guys, you're like the boss, you're gonna take them out. So, only L1, okay, so L1 goes through it. There's an arrow on that L1 CT. Which way does it go? So, and I'm gonna make you be real specific. Does that arrow point towards the grid, away from the grid, towards solar, away from solar? So here's how I want you to answer me. The arrow points away from what?
From green.
Solar.
There it is, from solar.
Solar is come down.
Yeah, I know you're right that it goes up, but it's away from the solar system towards what?
To the grid.
Towards the grid. Some people like to say towards the loads. Perfectly fine with me. Okay, so we're good so far. And then there's this one last item. It's really easy. Where do I wire the wires from that CT? Where do they land? Where do they land on the Envoy? You can't, I'm covering it here on purpose.
Those are the consumption.
So I'm talking about the production CT still. It lands on these P1 terminals. So as long as when you buy this from the factory, yeah, and you guys shout at me, okay? When you buy it from the factory, this one's pre-wired. If you buy this separate envoy, you have to do that wiring yourself, but it has to land on the P1 terminals like you just said. Okay, easy, right? This one's easy, I think. Do not put that L2 wire through there, right? So how do I know which wire is L1 or L2? Do you guys know?
Black or red?
So I'll
Black is
tell you.
Usually the top one is L1 and left one.
Left one.
This guy, man, here, let me give you some money or something right now. So it's not really the color, right? Because electricity doesn't care about color, right? People make mistakes. So he just said something I really like. It's the top. Can you see here how it's L1, L2? Can you got it? It's L1, L2, L1, L2. It's whichever wire. It should be black for
L1 down,
tradition.
that's it.
But you'll see it's stamped in the back. That's the one that has to pass through here. If you do L2 through it, what do you get? You guys ever know this? If you have 10 amps going on L1 and 10 amps on L2, what do you get? 0. They cross each other out. Yeah, you'll measure 0 amps. Exactly. So it's important that you get that right. All right, let's jump to the other item. Let's talk about the consumption CTs. We kind of already said this, but what do I want to measure through that consumption CTs? That item, you know, the hot tub, everything, do you remember? Through the consumption CTs. I know he's competing with me a little bit. It's basically everything is the answer I want you to have. All the power, right, that the house uses. So you try to locate it. We try to locate that consumption CTs somewhere where we're going to measure everything. See this kind of image here? If I put the CTs up here, I have a problem. Some of these loads won't get measured.
Different location.
Right. Now, I'll tell you, sometimes if you've got some interesting scenario and you've got one circuit here and that goes to the pool, sometimes you go, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, right? You could try to add a set of CTs, but I'm telling you there's rational reasons from a design point of view where maybe you're not gonna do $10,000 of trenching just to capture that one other load. I'm admitting that. But in general, I wanna capture all of the power. And yes, you can use multiple sets of CTs, okay? You can have more than one black CT. You just double them up. Blue, blue, white, white.
Together.
It's almost like you have one bigger CT, okay? All right, and then this one, this is a little bit fun. So with electricity, 240 volts, you typically have line 1, line 2, neutral, ground. You agree? Maybe that was better. Okay, so does line 1, excuse me, let me try this again. Here is the wire ports. There's CT number 1, CT number 2. They're identical right out of the package, but once I wire it here, I'm gonna call it CT number 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
So CT number 1 is the one that's wired here. What I'm saying to you, oops, these are identical. There's no difference, right? However, when I wire it on here, it becomes, you know, I'm gonna call that one CT1, that one CT2. Okay, fair enough?
Yeah.
So my question to you here is a multiple choice. Let's just talk about CT number 1. For CT number 1, does that go on line 1, line 2, or does it matter?
Line 1.
Line
Ah, folks, I'm so happy. Okay.
line one
So
from
many
the first
people
CT.
think it just doesn't matter. Line 1, it's 120, 120. It does.
Yeah.
Because we're measuring the amps and the voltage specifically on that one conductor. So just to finish it, yes, CT2 goes on, just help me.
CT1.
CT2 goes on line 2. Line 2, thank you. Okay, just like before, the arrow points away from, towards, yes, thank you. And then of course I have to wire it correctly, right? It's got to go on the right wiring terminals.
Second long 2.
right?
Yes.
If you wire them somewhere else, who knows what happens, right?
Which terminal are you talking about over there?
It's here.
Come here.
Half.
Right here.
Like that.
This block.
Consumption.
This block. Pretend that this block doesn't exist. I don't
Sorry,
know.
can you tell us where's the cap? The cap of this?
The dead front?
Yeah, no, not that front. The cap.
Tell me what you
Yeah,
mean.
the
I
cap.
don't know.
Where's the cap?
The cover.
Cover, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're gonna show them the
Yeah,
tire?
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's here, sir. It's here.
Thank you for that, reminding me.
Yeah, you can see here.
Smart guy here.
Consumption? Okay.
Yeah, consumption is CT1, CT2. Take a photo.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Good point.
Some of these, like when you go there to the customer
No,
house,
that's a
don't
lot
have
of
the-
pictures. You can mix it in that. You can read that.
All right, I don't know. Anything else on here? Oh, let me just show you. Remember, out of the back, they're identical. I can't tell which is which, right? So what we like with people do is they take some tape and they mark it so they know which one's which.
Red and black.
Right, just whatever color you want. I don't.
Or
Doesn't
number
matter
one,
to
number
me.
two, yeah.
See how there's some tape on there to just mark it? Of course, you can hold it if you want.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so I have an important question. For the production CT here, if you buy that Envoy separately, this is the Envoy, we call it the IQ Gateway now, we're changing the name. It comes separate with a nice cord. For that one, can I cut the cord or extend it for the production CT?
No.
No, please don't touch it. It's revenue grade accurate. If you touch the cord, different story. Consumption CTs, is it okay if I cut this cord or extend it?
Extend it.
Yeah, you can go hundreds of feet.
Yes. That you can.
So yeah, you can. That's just fine, okay?
The
So,
communication cable you can just add it over
Question. A lot of times we get massive jobs,
yeah.
massive amounts of solar,
Uh-huh.
so we cannot use the Enphase combiner box because it maxes out at 80 amps.
Right.
Sometimes we have up to 200 amps.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
we have to do our own sub panel and do a separate box just for the Enphase Envoy.
Right.
The CTs that come with it for production,
200 amp rated.
correct? And the,
It looks like this, right?
yep,
I do that Envoy.
right?
So yeah, in that case, you'll install your own separate the CT's like 6 feet cord. Looks like that.
That was
keep
my
going,
question,
keep
how
going.
long are the cords?
Yeah, I
6
want to
feet.
say it's 72 inches or 60 inches.
More
I'm
than
not
enough.
blanking. It's,
That was my question.
now that's the production CT
Correct.
specifically. Right.
Yep.
And if you
Got
have a
it.
bigger system than that, thank you, and let's talk. We'll help you set it up. The commercial CTs are like 400 amp now, or they're coming up. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a 400 or 600 real soon.
Yeah, we do have the same problem with Tesla systems.
Okay.
But it's usually the consumption CTs.
Yes.
Everybody's got 400 amp main panels now, and Tesla only makes CTs in 200, 600, and 800. Nothing in between.
Right now, we don't have many options either, so
Exactly.
you have my sympathy. Where it goes, right? So my question to you, this is my challenge for you, is tell me, how do I know which wire is L1 or L2 and that's, how do I know that? If I go you were saying a big job site. So if I'm starting here at the combiner box,
Marking the wires to identify
Marking
them.
wire or
well, maybe.
or
But-
using
but-
a voltmeter. That's a with
There
the
we go.
with the signal.
So if I wire this here, pretend it's wired. This is CT number 1. Oh, I grabbed the wrong color.
black one.
Technically red or black, it doesn't matter, but I'm gonna go with tradition, right? Electrical industry tradition. If you go to Austin, Texas, red, who knows? I just to give me a
The
headache.
caliper.
I don't care the colors. It's the principle that's more important.
Voltmeter.
Okay, so this one, I'm gonna call this one CT1 because I wired it on the CT1 terminals, right? So my ask to you is you tell me which conductor over here is the L1 conductor. And you guys already started to talk about it, right? But I want to make a point to you. If I just look at the colors here, making sure it's off, how do I know that these colors are correct? How do I know there's no mistakes somewhere in the wiring?
We can use from the main lab and one of the measure it, like the left one, we can test it with the voltmeter. The left one, which one of it shows the voltmeter is not the same. It shows 0, it means the same.
So you're going to measure the wire, right? If I heard you correctly?
Voltmeter.
So this is kind of fun. Here's my piece of wire, right? If I measure,
You're not allowed to go.
so there's a very important step. If I turn on, I have to turn on the electricity, right? I have to energize the whole system. If I measure with my meter from here to here,
Not here to there. Not there.
what voltage will I get?
No.
Thank you. He knows where I'm going with this. 0, right? Because it's the same electrical
line.
circuit. Now, if I measure, now, like I said, there could be a mistake, right, with the wiring. You know, and I measure here to here, it usually would get what voltage if it changed? Usually 240, right?
120 or 240.
So what I'm trying to suggest to you is that you turn on the electricity, right?
Yes.
Everything's on the whole way down. And then you start out here, and if you measure from, remember, this is the IQ gateway, the Envoy, it wants line 1, it's hard to see it right there.
Yes.
And then if I measure line 1 to line 1, line 1 to line 1, and I keep on going down, it should always be 0.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, that's the right one, and I clip it on. If I move down and down, and in my lead, one of my leads is going to stay put. I'm not going to, this one stays here, right? And then my other one is the one 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm going to keep on going. Now you have to do something.
I hold it.
Thank you, appreciate it. You have to be careful, because what if I measure somewhere else, just, I don't know, my finger here, this wire, this is a wire. If I measure here and I get 0, I'm like, okay, that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
But what if my coworker over there, he turned off the power, right? So you have to make sure, you leave that one there, and then you have to measure the other one to make sure that it's live. Does that?
Yes.
Every time you're using 2-3 source for using better.
And just as much, this one here, you could measure to neutral or to ground, that's
Yes,
fine.
yes.
But my point is, you need to see voltage before you confirm that it's the same wire,
Yeah.
right? Does that make sense? You got to make sure it's on. Thank you. Okay, appreciate it. I have so I call this line tracing. This is the same thing right here.
You can do it later.
No, take it. It's cool, guys.
Later we
This
take
is
it
a
out of the
hands-on training. I want you to grab it. You're doing right.
We can do that.
I'm here for you. If
love
you need
you.
it, take it. Okay, so this is the same thing. I'm just trying to show you that when I measure from this terminal on the Envoy there,
L1.
right there,
Yes.
wait, like that, see it?
Yeah.
If I measure there and I keep on going elsewhere, I should always get 0, 0, 0, and then now I know where to put the CT. Now, before I put it on there, I'm going to take my probe and just make sure that it's live, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Does this make sense? Did you hear that? See that? All right. Meaning one is you can just do little step by step. The other one is you just take a piece of wire, wire
Extend
nut
it.
right on here, right? You connect that, tighten it, literally you tighten it, you know, right on here, L1, and then you just kind of drag it.
Yes. Use how much you need, cut it and
Yeah,
take.
and
You have
the
to be
wire.
very careful. No damage the wire.
What's that?
He says not damaging the wire, the cutting or something.
It's really, the wire's fine. You can reuse it. And the point is, yes, this takes a couple minutes, but this saves you from driving back,
Yes.
right? Hours, and you know, it's worth it. So it's easy to make this longer. Literally just a wire knot. I usually say
use number
put a
14 or 12.
a
that's
zip
it.
tie on
Yeah.
it so that this doesn't keep popping out and making you crazy. I
Heavy.
promise you, this is how you're going to troubleshoot some sites. I forgot a very important question I was supposed to say. So who here goes back and fixes CT and wiring mistakes?
A lot of people.
Everybody here.
Everybody here.
If your hand doesn't go up, you're lying to me.
Always.
I make the mistake myself. So if I do this carefully, it saves me callbacks, right? That's those visits that's a waste of time. and money. All right, thank you. I don't know if there's anything else on there. I'm just trying to do a quick check.
Nathan.
So, wow. So right now, humor me. When I come to this house, if you'll make believe, right? Just pretend this house does not have any solar on it yet. Do you agree? Right? Look, there's no solar. I don't see solar panels, right? All I have when I start here is I have a grid-tied house, okay? So here's the utility, this wire. That's my power line coming in. I have some cool stuff inside there. We have a transformer and thing. That's how we get our 240. But the point is, I have 240 volts coming in right here from the grid. This is the power line. This is a confusing detail. You guys, this is just for today. We're cheating. Instead of solar panels, I have a DC power supply on the back of this wall, okay? So technically I have solar panels. This is my DC for the solar panels, okay? So it's confusing, but don't worry about this switch, okay? This is the utility grid, and then and that's where we start. So AC power comes in, you can see it's live, right? Comes in, main breaker, it's small, but it's my main load center here. And then this feeds, this is my house's, typical load center. It's split. So watch here, please. Right?
Yeah.
Just like any load center. So easy enough, right?
Yeah.
This is just a regular grid-tied house. Okay, so now I'm going to give you your job, your work today that you're going to get paid to go do is to go to this site and install a solar system with energy metering. Okay? Cool?
Yeah.
I know your company. You guys know how to put in racking and install solar panels, so we already did it for you. Okay? Yes? So I'm going to have you kind of start there. That's where you're going to work. You're going to finish the job.
Okay. That's good.
Cool? So you're going to install a solar system with energy metering, which means the CTs. That's your job, and then we're going to stop. And then we're going to come back in a week, just a few minutes later, and then we're going to add storage, okay? Fair? So I'm going to let you guys do this work. Now, this, again, I told you we did some work for you. The PV circuit, it's waiting for you. It goes in the attic of the house, through the walls, and it pops out right here, okay? So literally, I want you guys to get up and do this. Now, please do me a favor, work safe. We have something really cool. We can turn off the utility grid. So do me a favor, go ahead and just click both of those off. I wish you could do that, right? Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna stand back. All the tools are here. Talk to each other, talk to me, let's get it done.
Yes.
Oh yeah, please, grab. Here's the, all the tools are here. And hey, if people are ignoring you, put someone in front of us. So that guy's lazy, I'll go grab it. Come on guys, help him. This is not him by himself. I need you to add a PV system to this house.
This goes a little breaker, right?
What?
Grid.
Or towards the loads if you like that. No, you're right. I like to say grid, but every time I say it, like half the people go, what? So away from solar towards the grid or the loads. Line 2 just doesn't go through there. Leave it alone.
Yes.
Okay, good job. And the Envoy, right now, remember, I know we have a lot of equipment, but right now it's just a solar system, just grid tied. Okay, that stuff doesn't exist yet, right? So I've got my PV breaker here. My Envoy is powered. This is my Envoy or my IQ Gateway, same thing. We're changing the names. It's powered right here, right? I think so, yeah? Yeah. I didn't change, I don't know if you guys said. You hooked up solar, where did you put the solar breaker? Tell me.
Bottom right-hand side.
Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, this is the solar breaker? Okay, cool.
And there's the consumption.
Yeah, tell me about it. So consumption CT.
It goes on the load lines.
So I see an arrow that points, which way, just, I'm not asking right, wrong, just which way does this arrow point? You tell me.
Or down.
To the grid.
So remember, production CT is that one. We're done with that. We all got a thumbs up. I'm talking about my consumption CTs now. Which way? My question is, which way is it pointing now? I'm not
Pointing
trying to
towards
trick
the
you.
grid.
Okay, and that's one of them. Let's look at the other one. Okay, so do they both point that way?
Correct.
Okay, so if I'm measuring consumption, that's me pulling power from the utility. So which way should my arrow be pointing? Let's see what happens, okay? I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna get out the software right now, okay? Yeah? Anything? I don't think we touched anything here, right? Okay, so let's get what do you guys use for commissioning? What's smartphones, tablet? Do they use their own phones though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who here? Jeff, help me with this. Who should I have commissioned today? This part. This is the PV
Let's
part.
do this gentleman right here.
Okay. Okay, so get out your phone. Go to Installer Toolkit. We're going to call it the Installer app any minute now. The names are getting all updated, most of them for the better, right?
Ready?
Sweet.
Okay, so at your company, when you go to a new installation site, does the office create the system in here or do they do it in the
Correct.
field?
The office.
Okay,
Start.
good. That's the best way to do it. Just thumbs up. Today I'm going to do it the slower and the wrong way, the one
Okay.
that takes more time because I didn't do it yet. So hit plus. You guys have already,
Plus.
in most cases, you would have just searched for the system
Okay.
by the name or the
What I
address,
did-
right? I forgot to say that. Do you
What
know
I
what I
did
mean?
was plus, okay?
So
Plus.
you guys should not do this in the field because the office already did it for you, okay?
Yes.
This is me doing it just today because of this system. Usually what you would do, go back for me. Usually right here, you would search for the system by the name, the address, and then you would find it, okay? Yes? No?
Yes.
If you
Yeah,
want to
yes.
start the new one,
There we go. So today, I'm going to make you create a new one. And so only one person's going to do this. Hear me out.
Yeah,
You
just
can all tap along. You can do it. You can create. But for the real system, only one of them is what we're going to use, okay? So when it's time to scan hardware, I want you to stop, okay?
Just let that.
Okay, so you can do this too. It's okay. But it's really just one person. So system details, please.
System details.
Yes.
Go.
System name.
Okay, the name of this system, it's usually the, you know,
Enphase.
no, it's usually the
System 4.
Smith residence, right? Or the car wash house, whatever. Today, I'm going to tell you the name is the West Van.
Oh, for today.
Yeah, West.
W.
You know, like he said east. Okay. West van. We do have another van in the east, so it's confusing. Okay, west van.
West van.
And then I'm on passenger side. Passenger. Can you do that?
PASSANGER.
Passenger.
And
Side.
Yeah. Thank you.
SIDE.
And then one more detail. I'm going to put the date. So today's the
Passenger
14th, I think.
Yeah.
14, please.
Passenger side. What?
And then the number 14, where the numbers are.
Number
14. Beautiful. Okay, the next thing, installer reference ID. What this means is this is your crew, right? It's the crew, the dinosaur crew, the cat crew, whatever you guys call yourself. The Raiders, the Broncos. That's all that this means. I don't care if you use it. I'm just telling you that's what this is for.
You can
So
put
that's
in your
different.
name.
Okay.
Because we don't use those kind of names or the crew names.
Okay.
Like other
Installer
companies
reference
do. Just put
ID.
your name.
Put your
name.
Yeah, Tesla used Star Wars. People.
We used to do that at Solar City. We were the zombie.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So right now, this is a residential system, right? Third party owned, that's like when it's financed from somebody else. So today, we're not going to do that. That's what
Okay.
that button means. I'm just explaining. Third party means financed, right? Sunrun, Sonova, whatever those finance companies. Okay, the owner, the name of the owner. We're just going to make up a name. What's the name of the owner? Jim.
Tell me. Let's say
What'd you say, Tony? Okay, what's his last name?
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Okay.
Gonzalez. Great.
Gonzalez.
And then email is next.
Tony
Name of the
Gonzalez.com.
home.
Thank you. at dot something at fakeemail.com.
Yeah.
Let's save it.
Phone number when you're ready. Oh, I'm sorry.
Come.
So that's yes.
Oh,
well, let's. I don't think it'll work. It'll yell at you. It's good to say. That's not a.
Tommy Gonzalez at Yahoo. Let's say.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a personal information for the customer.
Mm-hmm. Usually your office does this, which is the right thing to do.
Okay, Tony Gonzalez at Yahoo.com.
Okay.
Then phone number. Anyone.
Make up a phone number. It has to be the right. Don't do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
But it has to have the right numbers,
Yeah,
right?
that's the customer right numbers.
No, but I meant if you just put 3 1s, it won't work. It has to.
10
Okay.
digits.
Thank you. That's what I was
2,
trying.
4. Okay.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, keep going. Address. What's the address? Do you know the address here?
Yes.
162
3, 8,
73
3.
Raymer, Ramer Street.
The permit for AHGM. That's what is that?
Well, let's all show
There you
you.
go.
AHA.
Do that.
That's a job.
Beautiful. It found it.
It did.
Okay, you fill it all in. The address. Oh, Texas is weird.
Texas.
Why not?
Do California. I want you to make sure the grid profiles matter.
Oh gosh, do they?
South California.
No, California, please.
California. Just
Yeah, it starts with a C.
CA.
CA. CA.
California.
There is California here.
Oh, it's
City.
running
That's
now.
fine.
That's fine. Okay.
Contract signing date. That's
Okay, so
what
today,
it is.
humor me, we're only installing solar first, so take off storage right now, just for fun. Okay, contract. Your sales guy this morning, he's really good. This morning, he signed it, they gave him a deposit this morning.
January 14th.
Yep, done.
Then.
Permit AHJ, you asked. That's the persons that come inspect it, right? So let's say Van Nuys Building Office. AHJ, authority having jurisdiction.
LADBS.
There you go.
LADBS.
Department of Building and Safety, I think, right?
Yep.
Cool.
That's all of Los Angeles.
We could say today it's Jeff because it's here.
Okay. Permit.
Put today.
Yeah. You got the contract, you got the permit today. It's a miracle.
Approved today.
You installed it, or they approved it today?
Also
I'm not going to check this stuff, so
today.
we're just going to keep doing today.
Also today.
What's that say? Hardware
Hardware
installation?
installation.
Today. That's accurate. We just installed
and the
it.
timing?
Today. Oh wow. Okay.
All right, good. Hit save.
Save.
So what you just did is you created what we would call, oh, it's yelling at us for something. Let's see. It says you have it there. A valid email. So go back and fix that email. It has to be, it has to look
Put in
real.
your email.
Well, we why is it? Oh, there's like a space maybe?
Put in,
Oh,
just
yes,
put
it's in
in,
space.
hit that, delete it,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
See,
He just had an error.
Let's try. Save.
Email
No.
Fix it. There was a mistake. I think there was a couple spaces.
Could be. Just put in your actual email. Keep it simple.
Aquí da ce speciale. Escriben pagina.
VB. BS.
Does this training make you drink more?
No, actually, it's fun, and you guys are a good. You're a lively group. It's the worst is when people.
Yeah, and no questions or anything.
It's like, why did I
And
come?
you're like doing this.
Yeah, just read the book if you don't need me.
Actually, it's not showing the LADBS.
LADBS is not showing. Give me the not. We're not going to next. Can I read any names?
What's that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you have a space.
Space.
Got no spaces. Yeah.
No space.
Or you could, or Vahe,
There is.
you could type it out too.
Oh, your phone number is not
People are
real.
big
It knows. It knows you're lying to it. It can see it.
Yeah. Santa Clarita.
So 818.
number.
You missed a digit or
Phone
something.
number.
Okay, just delete it. I'll tell you one. 818.
818.
813 87 74
813.
Yeah, you know,
87 73.
Associate account, yeah?
73.
Yeah.
You sure this is?
Okay.
It's number.
813 7373.
You created.
Let's try mine.
Yeah, put your phone number in.
1,
For these testing purposes, it should
Yeah,
be just
Done.
fine.
And there it is. Let's
Go
save.
safe.
There we
So
go.
when we
Okay.
used real information, it actually
so
worked.
hit associate. It's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, hit associate. Don't worry about that. Okay. So we just created an Enphase activation. And if you don't, a different word, it's like you just registered a new system, okay? Our phrasing is we call it an activation.
Device and
So I'm
array.
gonna step back and I'm gonna let you finish that part. Only PV, okay? So what do we have at this job site?
Envoy.
You have an envoy? Yes. One. Okay. You have microinverters.
One.
Okay.
Then
Three.
how many?
3.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Don't do battery and backup.
In church? No.
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 0.
That's it.
Put 0.
And power?
Okay. No.
Zero.
Done.
Stay one by one.
Add device. No.
No, you're not adding
No.
any devices.
Then done.
No batteries.
And what else?
Okay.
Zero batteries.
That's it for right now because everything is turned off and it's not going to scan anything.
Oh.
So you can scan the serial number. So now I'm going to be a little bit of a stickler on the phrasing here. So the word scan means different things in different contexts, right?
Sure.
People that use the older software with Enphase, they do what's called like a power line scan, right? And like you said, you'd have to turn it on. I'm going to recommend that you guys do not do power line scan anymore unless you're doing tech support and they say use that feature. Otherwise, I want you to make believe like that just doesn't even exist. It's just slower and less accurate. And in fact, a power line scan can pick up microinverters across the street from another house. It'd just be a big pain, right? Also takes longer. So what we're gonna do instead of that is we're gonna do an optical scan, right? Our eyes, cameras. So scan also means, you know, to see something, right? You scan around. So I do want you to optical scan that Envoy serial number. Or the IQ gateway. So the
Scan
serial
device.
number for
Okay,
that
let's try that.
device, it's gonna be on the door. Harder to
Take it out.
Yeah, I want to make you guys mount it.
I will help.
This is our special guys to mounting this.
Yeah, I'm the special guy.
What is the matter? For me, it's very
Yes, interesting. No. IQ8.
IQ8 is the new innovation. That's why you don't know that.
It needs two people.
Uzman ben saat mi öğretin?
100 pounds.
Asma
man.
pete jojo ona pepe var ya.
By yourself?
Kanka ilerle.
It's not taking out.
It gets a little stuck though.
It's not the other here.
Okay.
Meçhulleri çıplak. Veterineri
You let them all see. So this is a hard scenario because it doesn't make it easy to do that. So wherever you want, camera's going, but I've seen people like try to splice in here with wire nuts and stuff. a small sub panel there with breakers, but I'm admitting to you that because of the conduit path, it's not easy, right? So you can wire up to 6 of them together, but when you get that situation, you got to get a little creative. Some people will just run 2 conduits to the box, like a small, a small load center like this, a 20 amp breaker, 20 amp breaker. But you are technically, if you use one of these gutters like this or this trough, inside of there, you could splice it together. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 2 in and 1 out, yeah. You'd have 1 going to that battery, 1 to that one. You are allowed to do that.
That's my question. I can connect this one for this one.
So the answer is yes. Remember, up to 6.
Up to 6. Okay.
But I'm trying to admit to you guys, it's challenging because it always goes to that one left spot,
Okay.
right? So you need to
That's why
pick.
I'm asking.
You need to pick that location where you make those wire splices together.
That's why I want to connect and come up. I don't want to connect together.
One thing I need to ask about is if you could, if you could have multiple red wires inside that battery and just splice them together right there. I need to find out if anybody.
We don't have the right.
Do you guys think an inspector would let you do that or get upset?
Not more than 2.
No, that's why I'm
Do you
asking
understand my
if yes, you
question?
can, if we make
So
it a
in that
hole.
wire space,
What kind of wire space?
Make your own hole?
well, right where that.
Oh, let's ask him
pipe
again
comes
about that.
in, and you have this. So what the challenge
Not a
here
hole
is
in
how
the
do I
battery.
connect that
No,
battery over there to this one here,
okay.
right? I have to have the red wires
don't have a
together.
space.
If you put a regular box, regular
That
spray
one
for
works
box,
perfectly.
perfectly. Otherwise, inside this one,
It's tight.
yes, it's not gonna work. But it's allowable. You can.
Right.
We don't have a special
The
other
question
side,
is,
same.
some inspectors will say, "Oh, that's not a combined junction box. It's a battery. Don't do your splicing there." So what you just said would absolutely work. Just a small multi-purpose
An
box.
actual junction
That would
box.
definitely work.
We can
Good that
use
you-
this as a
Good that you
junction
point
box.
that out because that's a common mistake in any kind of a sub panel. Wire nuts.
You can.
Pulling wires in, wire nuts, pulling wires out. You just used a sub panel as a junction box. You're not allowed to do that.
And especially if it's a disconnect switch. 'Cause
Oh
those
God,
wires-
yes.
Those wires aren't controlled by the switch.
And for here, we can.
So I think your point is good. Small metal box, or you run multiple circuits back. It's kind of your choice.
But we can use here as a junction box, like the
So I don't have a problem with that, but I'm trying to admit to you and Jeff, some inspectors might not
They
like
might
that.
have a problem with that.
And the reason why I'm a little torn about it is when we do these 3 together, that's what we're doing. We're linking those 3.
Exactly.
So it's like, why is it a big deal if I have 4, 5, and 6? But why? I admit
If you've got the room to put the junction box in, put the junction box in.
that.
Because technically, this is just a trough. And it does have boxes, but it's not designed for that. It's not in the specifications to use. This is not known as a junction box. This is just a wiring path.
Right. I'm going to confirm with somebody if we had some documentation that said you could do that, that would help.
Yeah, if that
But I'll
could act
admit
as
to
a
you,
junction box point,
even if we had that documentation, there's still some inspectors that would have a hard time with it.
yeah, we run into them all the time.
Because they'd say, what if you remove the middle unit? And I'm like, all right, that's kind of a good point. You don't have to put a pipe in, or I mean, who knows? It's well, I'll have the new one with me, inspector. I'll put it in and pick up. You know, it's kind of easy to fight with him, but
Right. And this is also, just to go back, this is an Encharge 3, correct?
yes.
Okay. 3 of them together makes an Encharge 10. So just to specify what he was saying earlier, it's not 6 Encharge 10s that you can wire together. It's 6 Encharge 3s, which would be 2 Encharge 10s. There's 3 of these in an Encharge 10.
And in the T version, there's a 3T. That's this one, but like squished. It's a little lighter. It's just a different version. There's 3T, 10T. It's exactly what you just said. A 10T is 3 of the 3Ts.
Exactly.
It sounds like a who's on first base puzzle, huh?
Not really. Not really, but yeah, the new ones that are coming out, if they're thinner, they're going to make a lot of homeowners happy.
And one more time, those IQ8 is different with the other.
Correct. Just slightly.
Different from the microinverters.
We can use those instead of the thing.
No.
Yeah, they don't.
And also those from them.
You can't swap them.
Yep.
They're very similar.
There's a question that's going to come up a lot.
Yeah.
And six, 8 months from now, when we're actually using them and everything, people are going to go on site and they're going to see batteries and, oh, I didn't bring an IQ8 with me to replace the one that's bad on
Those
the
come
road. I can take one out of the battery because it only needs 3. It actually only needs 2.
What is different that we can separate it, that identify this is IQ8 for battery, this is IQ8 for solar?
You should never go to a job site
See that
with
open.
this in your hand. It's always going to be installed in the battery. You don't put these in. Open the box, they're pre-installed.
I know,
that?
I know.
So if you go to the job site, that's the only thing you should have packaged. But his situation where you're missing one, it's just a different bracket. It doesn't fit, and the function is just a teeny bit different. You know,
Why they put the same name?
Like number
That's the question. IQ8, IQ.
do you hear me? I'm trying to like.
Yeah, same name.
What other piece of equipment do I need? And yes, I'm standing in front of it, but what is it that I need? Why do I need something else? If I have solar and I've got batteries, what do I need to do when the grid goes down?
2 things.
nothing.
You need a certified transfer switch and you need battery backup to hook up to it.
Okay, and there's some really interesting stuff. So can I power the whole grid or the whole street, right? No, that's, you know, my solar system can't supply the whole neighborhood. It could be a grid outage, it could be a safety, like a transformer upgrade on the street. So I need to be able to disconnect from the grid, right? So this is just a slight tweak. A transfer switch goes from utility typically to a big, ugly, smelly generator, right? When we think of a transfer switch, because the house goes dark, and then the generator warms up, and then the house gets power again, right? We actually use a item that's similar to that, but it's actually simpler. It's called this MID switch, microgrid interconnect device. It doesn't go A to B, it just goes open or closed, right? So what happens is our microinverters are following that grid sine wave like this. The grid goes away, your house lights, your fridge, it all just stays on. And the reason is the microinverters there and there, they've been following the grid all along in grid interactive mode, right? These IQ8 bats and the new IQ8 PV ones, when the grid goes away, they can change modes to become a grid forming mode. That's what's different about these versus the other ones. Technically with IQ8 PV, you actually can install backup without battery storage because they have that ability to do grid forming. It's new, it's just a new feature. If you add storage, most people will be happier because they'll also work at night when a cloud comes by, right? Okay, so the detail that's a little bit interesting is that though the switch is simpler, it just opens or closes, it's actually still a far more sophisticated system. Because if you noticed a moment ago, my lights in my house, they just stayed on. They didn't even notice that momentary thing, right? But the transfer switch kind of like here's the grid, we're up and running, grid goes down, my house is dark. Then the generator warms up, my house comes back. Now when the grid comes back on, the same thing happens. My house goes dark again, and then I go back here. We do something a lot smarter. We actually synchronize to the grid. So, you know, here's the grid comes back. We'll actually shift our, oh, there we go, we matched up. So it takes a lot of complexity to have this type of system work. So it's a grid synchronization, comes back, it's smoother, more seamless. I hope that's kind of a cool detail, right? All right, so we've got that microgrid interconnect device similar to a transfer switch right here. This is a quick and kind of wonky detail, so I need you to pay real careful attention. This whole assembly, it says on, off. This is like this, it does more than one thing. When you go and you power this system up the first time, when you turn on the grid, it has two different modes, right? If I take this switch here, what's your name?
Robert.
Robert, come here. Robert, push that way for me. Push it. Okay, right now, it's on manual override. That means that when the grid goes down, the grid comes up, the grid goes down, your house goes dark. You put it on override. Override means the electronics, they're bypass. They're just off. They're just watching, right? Bypass is the kind of a wrong word. Yeah, they're just not doing anything. Now the power, I want to be extra clear. When it's in this position, the power will flow through here to that refrigerator and the lights. But when the grid goes down, the electronics in here, they look at what you did when you first turned it on. They go, oh, you wanted me on bypass, so I'm not doing anything, right? Now, if you take that switch, what's your name again?
Hamlet.
Come here. Hamlet?
Yes.
Take that switch and put it in this one.
0.
Towards me. Now, what you just did is you disabled manual override. I like to say this is just normal operation mode, right? And what that means is you put it to the right, it means you told the electronics, do your job. I want you to do everything you can do, right? So now I'm gonna turn on the power to this the first time. It sees that switch over here and it goes, ah, I get to do my job, right? I get to operate normally. And in fact, the electronics will actually move this switch around. They'll click it that way. But the key is, what position was that switch in when you first powered it up? Okay? So here's the easiest thing that I could tell you guys. When you get this and open it up, if you have the batteries or all the right things, just click the switch which direction?
The right.
Yes, thank you. If you just remember to put that switch to the right, your system will operate perfectly fine.
Automatically.
Right, it'll do what it needs to do. If you accidentally push the switch to the left, or if you leave it to the left, and you go, oh, that's why it didn't work later when I did my testing and stuff, you have to remember that you have to turn everything off for at least a minute. Because there's capacitors and things in here. You need to completely empty those out. Then you're gonna come, so look, somebody made a mistake. They powered it on. You're gonna come over here, you turn everything off. I want no power anywhere. Just completely de-energized. Help me out. Click it to the right for me. Okay, now you'll power it on. It'll go through its little safety checklist. Takes about 45 seconds, and then it will move the switch around. Everything will come to life. The grid goes out, your stuff stays on. But do you get that point? So which way should the switch be before you turn it on? This way or this way?
0.
To the right. A lot of junk. If you guys just remember to have that here before you power this up, you'll be happy. Cool.
And after the power's on, we have to again.
No, you
goes to
don't
the-
need to.
or
uh,
we
You
don't
don't
need to
touch
touch
this.
it. Just zero.
It's just during the initial
first time.
commissioning.
Okay.
Unless you made a mistake. The only other time you would on purpose put this in bypass mode is if you were installing all this equipment and you forgot the batteries or something. Or if you're on the phone with us doing some troubleshooting. Having the switch on this mode, it does mean electricity is flowing through. It does. But you told the electronics to just stand by. Don't do any work. Do you get that?
Yes.
So two different things happen here. This turns on and off the microgrid, and before you power up, you tell the system override or normal operation. It will move the switch back and forth. Don't get stressed about that. Okay, here's all the electronics. Back here's the neutral forming transformer. This is what allows you to get 120 volts. Because we have 240 from here, 240 from there. When the grid goes away, I have to create the neutral, the 120 volts with this device. Yeah, it's an auto transformer. Here's your distributed energy bus. You land your PV, your storage, your generator, all these other things. And this is system controller 2. There's a quiz. I'm going to test you guys right now. If you did all of the online training, how could you tell if this is a system controller 1 or 2? And my hint to you is it's really hard to tell. Super hard. The easiest way to tell is that there's an additional,
Take it out.
not the jumper, this port.
The port, take it out. That's, you see that?
The other one, it goes this, and this only. This is new.
Yeah, that's 3 of them.
Rapid shutdown disconnect switch. Thank you. This is new. We installed this switch with System Controller 2 and IQ8 microbursts. If you have a System Controller 1, you will not have this. Okay? That's really honestly the
System
easiest
controller 1,
way
you
to
will not
tell.
have that with his hands on.
Now, there's another thing. Where's that? The dead front cover.
It's right there.
For the Enphase?
Oh, is it over there?
No, it's here. No,
The big one.
nothing.
No, no, big one.
The big one's right there.
This guy right here.
No, the dead.
This is the dead front.
Oh no,
On system controller, say it.
Breaker for storage is upside right now.
They flip stuff around.
Solar is come
PV,
down.
storage, PV. There's
Generator.
No, that's a generator.
If you have a generator. So with this system, you must wire. What does that say?
Invoice.
So this wiring here,
We should come.
you have to take this wiring out. This breaker now gets installed here instead. Now, if you have a generator, yes, you're gonna put it there. Then you're gonna take this breaker out and you're gonna put a quad breaker there instead.
Quad 40?
A quad,
Yeah.
a 40-20, right?
40.
40 for the
Generator.
this, 20 or 15 for the Envoy. This needs very low power.
Yeah, 15.
Okay, there's a third option, which it's kind of hard to show you, but you actually could power this from the backup load panel too, if you had a backup load center. So you have 3 choices. But here's the point. System Controller 2, you no longer have this in here. Do not put the Envoy power in this box. It has to come out. The reason is I want to keep this thing powered on as much as possible. If I leave it here with IQ8, there's a chance I'm going to turn it off, because if you remember from your training before, the PV circuit actually lands down here,
Yeah.
right? And we can turn that circuit on and off with the electronics behind there. We want the Envoy to stay on, even if we turn on and off the PV circuits. So this is an important thing for you. This is confusing. Everybody here, you're like my champions right now. There's different versions of equipment. Once you start installing this version 2, you're gonna kind of change your hat and say, that one I gotta do this, like these flip. Some minor important things. If it's a System Controller 2, I'm gonna install a rapid shutdown switch over here.
I know.
System Controller 1 does not have this switch. So these are important. If I'm giving you a little bit of a brain moment here, thinking about it, means you're gonna have to recognize which one's which, okay?
The rapid shutdown switch, is that has to be installed? Or is this something, because we've had to do this on other jurisdictions, it's required, for instance, in the city of Santa Clarita for any battery system?
Okay, so for this system, okay, remember you cannot install rapid shutdown switches with system controller 1. It just doesn't exist. So once you have system controller 2, if you use IQ8 PV, which are the ones that can create a grid without batteries and without the utility, you have to have rapid shutdown.
Got it.
The reason is that circuit could stay live. You have to tell that circuit to shut off. So you have to add one of these switches. Now, if you put in IQ7s on a system controller 2, it's up to you if you use a rapid shutdown switch or not.
Right.
I think they're a good idea.
They're good. Okay.
So does that make sense? Something that's grid forming has to be able to be told, hey, turn off. Let's go to a safe mode. Otherwise, they'll just send out 240 volts all day long. And you're like, oh, wait, there's an emergency, please turn off. That's what you're doing with that switch, is telling them.
Whereas in all of the old ones, as soon as you turned off the disconnect or the breaker, poof, rapid
Those
shutdown.
old ones, what they're doing, they're kind of like following the, I'm following the leader, right? You're in front of me, follow you. If he stops, I stop, right? The grid went away, I shut off immediately. These have the ability to keep on going, even if that other stuff disappears.
Now it makes sense what you were talking about, the IQ8s, that they will be able to power up without battery system during the day.
Yep.
They continue to produce even when the grid is down.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've already been installing this exact same switch.
It's a standard part. We just happen to spec it as well. It wires right here. Now while he's recording this, but these jumpers are here only because I had it configured to do a quick software update and things. I just didn't get it installed. Now, technically, if you're installing IQ7 or older microinverters that are grid tied only, you could use jumpers like this instead of that switch.
With 2 pairs.
Yes, you have to, you bridge 1 and 2 together and then 3 and 4 together.
2 pairs.
Correct. But you only do something like this if it's IQ7 and older microinverters. With IQ8 PV, you must use a correctly wired rapid shutdown switch. This would be an incorrect configuration. So for today, this isn't a finished system yet. We got to fix it and install it correctly. Okay, let's keep going. Neutral forming transformer. Guys, there's no reason. I encourage you to be real careful, right? You don't have to operate by memory. Use the tools, use things. So this one's labeled storage. So battery storage is here. AC combiner, that means PV here. Envoy, well, no, look. Envoy here. So pull that breaker out here. So I'm warning you that if you go to a different site and it has the old one of these, just look at the labeling is my point. Look at the door, be careful. In the future, we might flip this or change something, so you just always have to read the labeling. Try not to go off with the, what do we call it, muscle memory, right? You might make a mistake. So let me ask you real quick, where do I wire that battery circuit? Where does it land? Does it land here on the battery breaker or the PV breaker? So here's the battery wiring, right? This comes from the battery. There you go, you got it. Yeah, some people make a mistake. So you have to make sure you do that. All right, you guys understand. So I'm gonna let you just go ahead and build it. So my request is this panel will be completely backup protected, okay? So everything over here is not protected anymore. Fair? Yeah? All right, get to it. System. The PV system here was installed 2 weeks ago, right? Wink, wink, wink. Okay. Got like 7 things in my way. So, and then we came back to the site. We added some storage and backup capabilities. So did you already pull up the system?
Yes.
And we're not ready for AP mode or anything like that yet, right?
No, it's not ready.
Okay, so please pull up the app, the Enphase app.
Oh shit.
Ready?
Now, did you locate the system yet?
Ready?
Okay, so now, so I want you to kind of think about it very literally. What did I do to this job site? Did I take away hardware? What did I do? I added, thank you for helping me out. I added devices. I added hardware. So can you see which option there? What do you think we should go to, Jose?
Battery.
Battery.
Hey, help out, man. Shout it for him.
Battery.
Well, so which one on there?
What is batteries?
No.
So
devices,
we added
devices.
hardware.
Devices?
We added
Yeah,
devices.
devices.
That's the man.
Devices.
So help him out. Keep going. You're
Click on
doing
here.
good.
Add the device.
Add the device.
Add
No,
the,
back,
no,
go
no,
back.
back.
And
Add the
which-
device.
Add the device.
What
okay.
devices do we add today?
We added the
Charger?
in charger.
Yeah, we
In
added.
charge.
How
And
many?
guys, humor me. We
One?
added one battery. Wink, wink, because they're dummies. So.
Yes, in
So-
charger.
So technically one.
One.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
One battery, one.
And then what else did we add today?
Power.
Okay.
The
I'm asking. You guys tell me. What else did we
A
add?
smart switch.
Turn on the.
Jose, come on, help me out.
Transform.
Turn on
Did
the.
you add this or no? On there, I can't see your screen.
No.
It's in
No.
power.
No.
Smart switch.
No. Got it.
And we're
the smart switch in the empower address.
we're gonna start calling this the IQ system controller,
Got it.
System controller.
and this happens to be
RQC.
version 2. I just. The
Sorry, I did my training in March of last
Jeff,
year.
the employees,
Add the device.
the employees were struggling.
You can add the device.
As in,
In charge.
In
I just gonna
charge.
get a shirt that says this is what I installed, and I'm gonna have to write it backwards so I can take a picture.
Power one.
so did you see what kind of popped up just now?
Yes.
Yes.
So it gave you the ability, once you added this, you can now add load controllers,
Load control.
a generator, and technically a load controller is also, if you wire it differently, it's also PV shedding. Same device, it's just
One
an electrical.
controller.
Yeah.
Is that cool? All right, then if we've got everything we need on here, can you, Jose, do I call this Vanna White.
Which one? Load control.
Everybody agrees, we're happy?
Yeah.
So then in that case, hit save or done, if you're ready.
Save.
They're good. Oh, sorry.
Can you switch to the camera right
IQ load controller.
Which one is the Empower?
So this is the IQ system controller, formerly
Okay,
Enphase
save.
Smart Switch.
Because I just saw it listed there twice.
Save. Save. Down.
Check it out. Make sure
Take
you're
a picture of
happy.
myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that he's moved forward.
Now-
All right.
Nothing else? Done?
Okay. Okay. Done. Save. Something like that.
Done.
Now, if you remember, we have to scan them.
Okay, got it.
Device has been added. To complete commission, you need to be enabled, certified.
So that's what we're doing today. Ensemble certified means that you're trained. Otherwise, the software will block you.
Okay.
Have
Right.
a cell modem plug-in.
Do we have a cell modem?
Yes.
What else?
Have a commission kit connected.
Yes.
Okay.
Check.
Yeah.
If you go out to
Okay.
Palm Springs Desert and you don't have that, you're going to be driving back in the
Okay. Yes. Good.
Okay. Then got it.
We just call it the comms kit, Enphase communication
got
kit.
it.
Okay. And that's
Okay.
the new cell kit?
Mute.
This is the new one.
Yeah, not the blue one. That's what you're talking about now.
Sprint, this is Sprint, which is now part of T-Mobile. The blue ones are AT&T.
Got it.
Yeah.
And if you need to go AT&T for whatever reason, just depending on where the site is, just get the combiner that doesn't have cell, and then just plug in your own AT&T.
A lot of Altadena jobs are like that, like AT&T.
It just depends where you are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense though?
Yes, it does.
Don't. The IQ Combiner 4C means that it includes this cell modem.
Okay.
So if you want to use AT&T at a site, you just buy the IQ Combiner 4, and then you buy a cell modem separately and just plug it in yourself. It takes 10 seconds.
Got it.
It's just confusing.
It only costs money.
Just money and time. Okay, keep going. What else? So now we added devices. Do you remember this morning how we added 3 microinverters? What did we do next? We said, hey, there's 3 of these things. Thank you. We're gonna say which ones.
The devices
So what I'm
again?
asking you is which battery did I add? Which
The
system
scanning
controller did I do?
scanning the.
please
Okay.
scan? Yes.
Yes.
And then device. And
Now, I can't see your screen, but wherever, it's okay, I don't need to.
Okay.
Wherever the battery is on step 2 under devices and arrays, once you have one battery,
Yeah.
you're gonna scan that one battery. This is not the right
That's not the right screen. That's just adding.
So that's if you sold them another battery and another battery, you'd go back there. So now, do you see Encharge battery? Do you see smart
Yes.
switch?
Yes.
So see how it says 0 of 1? That means you didn't scan
There you
it
go,
yet.
scan device.
1 of 1.
One.
Oh, isn't it right here? It's right here, right?
We moved the stickers up here, by the way, on the new ones. Makes it easier.
Okay.
All right, done.
Done, another one.
No, only one.
And then it should say 1 of 1. Today we're only scanning 1 because
But we have to scanning everything.
those are dummies, those 2.
Yeah.
Okay, please continue.
But really, we have to.
Scan 3 of them.
An Encharge 10
Any.
is basically a cover.
How many you have?
Right?
Yeah, how many you have? Yeah, huh?
3 Encharge 3s. I kind of wish we just called it the bigger cover or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
What else do we have to scan here?
The serial number for the Enphase.
So it's right here. It's also right here.
Empower.
I always get confused. There's so many stickers there. I like to just use this one.
Where? Well,
Using a door.
The door
It makes
better.
me happy. I know this is the right one.
add the very one, 2. And is
No, you don't have to go to add device.
Remember, you just gotta go click on it, on the thing, and then it'll say scan on the bottom.
And you guys, and Francisco, help me on this. It'll say
where
1
is it?
N power,
Yeah.
0 of 1.
Scan.
When you scan it, it'll say 1
Yeah, that's
power.
it. Click it.
Okay.
Click that, and then scan.
Serial number.
The thing immediately, you don't even
It's,
have
it's
to.
aggressive, isn't
It's
it?
like,
I kind of wish it would like wait a moment. Just so,
because I could double check, but I'm scanning the right thing. Like,
right. And we found that in most cases, if you scan like the wrong device, it'll usually tell
they
you.
tell you.
No,
Be
that's
careful.
supposed to be whole house or partial. You have to do the partial.
So I would say,
The partial.
let's say that I had another breaker in here that like, I don't know, the
Partial?
hot tub or something.
Yeah, just me.
If I had another breaker here, that means it would be partial.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean by that? Usually I have another one here, but...
Okay, partial. Then
And
between
then,
them,
and where are the CTs? Did you tell it that already?
After meter.
Are they between the meter and the main breaker, or are they between something else?
Okay.
Between main.
This one. Between the Empower and the main panel.
Yeah, between
So-
Empower and main panel.
Do you think
No,
so?
it's between meter and
Between
main
utility
breaker.
Guys,
service
main breaker.
and
So
the main
are
breaker.
your CTs here, which is between N-Power and main?
Between
or your
utility service
CTs?
and the main breaker.
You help me out here.
What are your options?
Because
Read
the
them out.
utility, service and the main breaker. And main
Between
breaker. That
service
one
and
is
the
main
main
breaker.
breaker.
This one. Yeah.
Jose,
means-
just so you know, because you seemed really confused on that, these are the CTs. This is the grid.
That's the
Meter. Grid. This is the main breaker.
Main breaker.
Does
Between
it make a
utility
little more
service
sense
and
now?
the main breaker.
Does
yeah.
it make
Yeah.
more sense now?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Thank you.
So it should. Main breaker.
Okay, save.
Please.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That's the third option.
Let me drink another beer. I'll give you that answer.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't show you.
Okay.
So
Okay,
we're done. Now remember, this is an existing system. So all you have to do now is go back. But Jeff had something.
No, I was just reading it. I wanted to see what the IQ load controller is, but we don't have one of those.
Yeah. It's magic. Coming soon for real.
Okay, we ready?
If we don't have that, why we are?
Storage or battery storage site, and I cannot finish commissioning. I'll be right back to it. If I can't finish commissioning, and what that means is I want it in a state where the batteries can charge or discharge, right? That's a system that's fully operational. If I have to leave that site before that's the case, you must turn off this DC battery disconnect switch. Okay?
If we're not finished.
If the system's not up and running where it can charge and discharge and operate fully. The reasoning, if I can give you like a quick example, you know, if you turn it all on and the customer said, you said, hey customer, I'll be back there at 8 a.m. tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen. I like to say life happens. Sometimes the customer will cancel on you. They're gone, and it might be like a month that went by and this was in the on position and it just very slowly bleeded that thing all the way off. It's basically like neglect, like you damaged the battery. So what we're asking you to do is if you leave a site where the system cannot charge or discharge the battery, please turn this off. That's all.
Unless we finish everything.
Okay, thanks. Good timing, right? I try to time.